Hey, good morning, Rick. This is a quick demo video for you for your 89 Sabres Ventress. This is installed with the Proffie that you provided. This is my chassis design. Although I didn't print this out for you, I gave you the STL and you got it printed in an SLS material, and that's really cool. And then you did the crystal chamber yourself. So when this saber is on, which I'll show here in a second, there is a crystal chamber here that you can see through all this venting. This is a 2-button setup, so your front switch will be power, your back will be auxiliary. How to get to your chassis. First thing you want to do is just take out your blade plug. You'll need to take this out anyway to put a blade in, so we'll take this and slide it out. You can kind of see your shadow foil props PCB that you provided, but then you'll want to unscrew the pommel. This is the only place that opens. You can't take off the handle. So we'll take off the pommel here very gently. What you'll want to do is come in through the emitter and just kind of push it out a little bit until you can see it pop out the back side here, and then you can just pull it straight out. All right, so this is the chassis right here. You've got your Proffie board right here. This is adhesed down to the shelf. If I can get this to focus on it. This is adhesed down to the shelf, but you can get to your SD card and your micro USB from right there. You never have to move the board. You had provided, of course, the SD card and had a lot of fonts on it with a config, but your config was different than how I wired this up. So what I did was I picked one of the sound fonts. I made a config for that based on how I wired this guy up. I put a copy of that config on your SD card so you can use that to build from on the rest of your font package, because you have a pretty significant font package on here. All right. What I did was I did shared power pins. The Neopixel for the crystal is on a different data line, but it shares the power pin, so you'll see that. But you have a removable battery set up right here. Spring side is your negative side for your battery. This has a 22 millimeter, or I'm sorry, this is a 24 millimeter Smoker's Outpost Elite speaker. All right, 24 millimeter speaker. So that's what we've got in there. I did do some slight modifications to the inside ring of this chassis, just around the speaker, so that it would fit the 2 tabs for the speaker with no problem. Those were there so that the pommel can, slide right over it, and then as you screw it in, it shoots it into the saber and it lines up the switches. Your 2 tactile switches are underneath this plate. So they are hidden by this 3D printed plate here. You never see them, but they work fine. And your crystal chamber. This is something I have not seen before. This is a type of crystal I haven't seen before. And obviously you put it in. You got the metal greablies on the top and the bottom. I think you did an amazing job there. It looks very, very nice. This crystal, although you can't see it right now, you'll be able to see it in a second. It does have a few cracks that looks like it was intentionally put into the crystal, so it has some very nice shine through. All right, and then of course your shadow foil props PCB that you provided. All right, so what I've got this crystal doing when the saber's off, it's just kind of pulsing, but it is on a timer. If you don't turn it on right away, it will turn off, so it doesn't kill your battery. All right, so we'll throw a battery in here.
This is the way.
And you can see that crystal pulsing, and then when that crystal is on, you can see those cracks inside of there, which is very cool. And we can turn it on from here.
We meet again, Kenobi. Welcome to my world.
And then you've got twist off. Now, when you want to put this into the saber, you'll notice, obviously you're familiar with this chassis, but I like going through it anyway. There is a channel running all the way down to right past the switches. That needs to be lined up with the control box. It's a little hard to see in there, but maybe, yeah, it's a little hard to see, but maybe if I press that plunger switch down, you could see it fall right into the chamber, right? And it is in the chamber anyway, right there. There you go. It sticks out into the chamber anyway, so this only goes in one way. All right, so when you're ready, carefully line it up. Your battery does have to be all the way inside of the cradle. If it's sticking out at all, you're going to have a hard time putting this in. It's a very tight fit, but once you get that battery all the way in, it slides right in just like that. and then you take your pommel and you can put it on the chassis and push it forward and then lock it in just by screwing down the pommel. All right, so we'll screw this down. Screw that down all the way to lock it down in place. And now we can come over here and hit power, which is the front of the switch box.
We meet again, Kenobi. Welcome to my world.
This is where you see that crystal chamber coming through, you know, on the venting. LED lighting up. Auxiliary back here. And we'll switch it off. We're going to put a blade in here. This is the only sound font that's on here. Like I said, I just did it so that you'd have a small, easy sample to build from. All right. We'll lock down our blade retention. As you know, this saber takes a 7/8 inch blade. And of course, you can see the crystal pulsing there.
We meet again, Kenobi. Welcome to my world.
All right. So blaster bolt deflex, just tapping auxiliary. If you want blade lockup, hold auxiliary down and hit the saber. So you know when you're vertical, it's towards the emitter, and then as you go horizontal, it moves out towards the tip of the blade. All right, you can see the difference. Good flash on cloud. Very solid. And twist it off just like that. And we'll take the blade out and put your blade plug. Well, we won't put the blade plug back in until we take the chassis out. And of course, we'll do that the same way we did it at the beginning of the video. Take the blade out, take the pommel off, come over here very gently from the emitter and just kind of push it straight out until you see it here, and then you can pull it straight out. All right. You may need a tool to take this out because it is a pretty tight fit. So I just use the back of my tweezers. Pop the battery out like that, and there you go. So that is basically your Ventress. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll get this out in the mail to you by tomorrow. Thanks.